Imagine for a moment that you're a member of a big family. You have dozens of brothers and sisters. Most of these siblings are kind of fat and sloppy and unproductive. They're disorganized and greedy, and they whine a lot, so they get big fat allowances. You're kind of a skinny little runt, but you're not afraid of work. In fact, in spite of the piddly little allowance you get, you invest it well, and year after year end up with almost twice what your myopic parents gave you. Not only that, but you pour it all back into the family coffers. Then hard times come. Mom and Dad cut back a little on the other kids' allowances, but it would seem logical, since you actually make money with your allowance, that you'd get a little more. But no, yours gets chopped too. Well, by now you've correctly guessed that I'm talking about the federal government's treatment of agriculture research. A couple of weeks ago, Agriculture Minister John Wise announced that he was cutting 35 person-years out of the Research Division's budget. I think that's a dismal blunder. The Research Division has slowly had its budget cut back year after year since the mid-60s. Mostly, the research stations have lost operating capital when their budgets haven't kept up with inflation. Energy prices have soared, and now some stations are closing greenhouses in winter because they can't afford to heat them, for example. Naturally, the research projects that would have been done get set aside. The drought on the prairies for the last 3 years has made hay expensive. Stations doing livestock research have herds of cattle and sheep that must be fed, so the hay bill eats up part of the budget that should have gone somewhere else. For scientists to stay current, they should go to conferences in other provinces or countries at least every year. But there's no money for that now. In fact, the operating budgets are so low that researchers are literally having a hard time getting routine supplies like test tubes, chemical reagents, and even making long-distance phone calls. At least, that's what a number have told me privately. They don't dare complain out loud for fear of losing their jobs, although for some that wouldn't be all that bad. There's already the beginnings of an exodus from Agriculture Canada's research branch. Many scientists, especially the younger ones, are looking for jobs in universities or industry either in Canada if they can find them, or in the US if they can't. None of this would be that bad if agriculture research didn't pay such huge dividends for the tax dollars we invest. Many studies have been done to determine the payoff to society for agriculture research. On average, we get back $1.40 a year for every dollar we invest. The return has been much higher for some projects. We would literally have no wheat crop in Canada if it weren't for research that overcame the wheat stem sawfly. That alone is worth millions a year. Every dollar invested in wheat rust research has paid back $480 in increased production. Every dollar spent on improving poultry rations has paid back $260 in faster-growing chickens. Every dollar invested in potato research has given back $65 in extra spuds. And the list goes on and on. The provincial governments seem to recognize the value of agriculture research. They've been lobbying the federal government to increase research funding because they know if we cut back, we'll start falling behind a few years down the road, and we won't be able to catch up. The Alberta government has even put some of its Heritage Trust money into research budget called Farming for the Future. This year, it's spending about $20 million. Alberta has been helping fund federal research projects too, but it had a verbal agreement with the feds that Ottawa wouldn't cut back its research budget when Alberta money started rolling in. Last week, Alberta Agriculture Minister Leroy Fjordbotn announced he won't be funding any more joint projects now that Ottawa has reneged on its word. So that's another cut in the federal sciences research money. With this mighty forward-looking federal government, there may even be more cuts coming. Back in the early 70s, when the government of the day had made some other simple-minded move, I remember one of my favorite farm broadcasters announcing that there was an order going out for horses' heads to be collected across the country. These were to be sent to Ottawa to go with the other ends of the horses that were there already. I have a feeling they've run out of horses' heads down there again, and it's time to get another order together. I'm Noel McNaughton.